Welcome to Investigation 2.2, Predicting Profit, Substituting Expressions. So this is looking at our situation where we have Watertown amusement park, and we're looking at the profit versus the visitors and versus the percent chance of rain. In this particular case, I've decided to make a new situation, still an indoor water park, but this one is indoor. So this different concession stand is at an indoor water park and sees the following equations based on visitors and percent chance of rain. So their profit is typically equal to 4 times V minus 650. So average of $4 is spent per visitor, and then they have a base cost that they always have to pay each day of $650 for employees and insurance and that sort of thing. The number of visitors that come are 200 plus 500 times R. So this tells me that if there's a higher percent chance of rain, more people will come. It's an indoor water park, so that makes sense. So let's use these equations to answer a couple of situations. Here's our first one. What is the profit of the percent chance of rain, or what is the profit if the percent chance of rain is 50%? So first of all, we need to look at our visitor equation, and we need to look at 50%. 50% is essentially 0.5 as a decimal. So visitors is equal to 200 plus 500 times 0.5. So we're going to get 250 extra visitors if there's a 50% chance of rain. So the number of visitors that we end up having is 450 people. Now, let's figure out the profit for that situation. If profit is equal to $4 per person times 450, and we subtract 650 from that, let's actually write the numbers properly, 650, we will end up getting 4 times 450 minus 650, we'll end up getting a profit of $1,150. So we're just doing a little math here. It's kind of fun. Now, let's use these same equations to answer another question. So here's our next question. What is the percent chance of rain if the profit is $1,650? So we have our initial equations of P is equal to 4 times the number of visitors minus 650, and we also have the visitors is equal to 200 plus 500 times the percent chance of rain. If our profit is 1,650, I can say with fairly good confidence that it's going to be above a 50% chance of rain. So that's helpful. I can look at that. Now, I need to think about how am I going to do this? I have a profit of 1,650. So I'm going to use this first equation instead of the second equation like I did in the last one. I'm going to say $1,650 is equal to 4 times the visitors minus 650. I now need to do a little bit of math. I'm going to add 650 to both sides, and I get 1,650 plus 650, I get 2,300. So 2,300, which is equal to 4 times the number of visitors. 2,300 divided by 4. So we're going to divide by 4 on both sides. We end up getting 575 visitors. So now we're going to put that into this equation. We're essentially working backwards from what we did before. 575 visitors is equal to 200 plus 500 times R. So we're going to subtract 200 from each equation, or from each side. So we get 375 is equal to 500R. And now we're going to divide by 500 on both sides. So 375 divided by 500 gets us 0.75 for R, or 75%. So a 75% chance of rain gets them a nice hefty profit of $1,650. Last question on this. So we've kind of manipulated some equations, so we've played around and figured out how to get profit versus percent chance of rain, and now percent chance of rain versus profit. Now let's look at this. Here's our last situation. Write an equation that you can use to predict the the concession stand profit based on the probability of rain. So our profit equation was P is equal to 4 times the visitors minus 650, and our concessions and the number of visitors is related to 200 plus 500 times R. What I see here is I have a V in this equation and a V in this equation. That's our sort of linked up factor. That means I can put whatever V is equal to into our initial equation for profit. And I'm going to do just that. We have essentially P is equal to 4, and now we're going to add in here 200 plus 500 R minus 650. So here's a rewritten equation. Instead of having visitors in there, we have percent chance of rain, and we can see based on the percent chance of rain, we can figure out directly what the profit is. So that's a really helpful equation. Let's simplify this though, because I see that we can do the distributive property in here with this 4 and just kind of simplify it just a little bit, just make it so it's less complicated. So we have P is equal to 4 times 200, which will be 800, plus 4 times 500, which is 2,000, times the percent chance of rain, minus 650. And now we have to find some like terms. I see this 800 doesn't have an R connected to it, and this minus 650. So we can rewrite this as P is equal to 800 minus 650, so we can do that math, plus 2,000 R. So 800 minus 650, this information becomes 150 plus 2,000 R. So our percent chance of rain gets us this equation for profit. Profit is equal to 150 plus 2,000 times R. Utilize this strategy to finish up this investigation. Have a good time doing it as well. Substituting expressions will not go away. You will enjoy it for a while. For this investigation, you should be doing A through D. Enjoy, and as always, if you have any questions, make sure you ask.